Right now, while you're watching this video, there's a hedge fund manager sitting in a Manhattan skyscraper making million-dollar trading decisions by staring at satellite photos of the Walmart parking lot in your hometown. And he's probably making those decisions faster and more accurately than every economist on Wall Street combined. Welcome to the most fascinating economic secret that's been hiding in plain sight. Empty parking spaces are actually crystal balls for predicting when the entire economy is about to crash. And they've been right about every single recession since 1990. But here's the kicker. You've been walking past these economic fortune tellers your entire life without even knowing it. Let me take you back to the summer of 2010, when a UBS analyst named Neil Curry was about to accidentally revolutionize how the world predicts economic disasters. Curry was just trying to figure out if Walmart's quarterly sales would be good or bad. But instead of burying himself in boring financial reports like every other analyst, he did something that Wall Street thought was completely insane. He hired a tiny company in Chicago to count cars in Walmart parking lots using satellite images from space. Every traditional analyst on the planet was predicting Walmart sales would drop by 1% that quarter. But when Curry's satellite data came back, it told a completely different story. The parking lots were actually more crowded than expected, suggesting sales would be 0.7% higher than everyone thought. And guess what? The parking lots were right, and every traditional analyst was wrong. That moment changed everything, because Curry had just discovered that human behavior doesn't lie, and satellites can see the truth before accountants can count it. But where it gets crazier is the fact that there's now a company called Orbital Insight that tracks over 250,000 parking lots for 96 different retail chains across America. And they can predict which stores are going to close before the companies themselves announce it. They spotted JCPenney's doom years before the company told anyone. Their parking lots showed a 5% annual decrease in car counts. And sure enough, JCPenney later announced they were closing 130 stores. The empty spaces had written the company's obituary in a language only satellites could read. Think about that for a second. Every time you decided not to drive to the mall because you were feeling worried about money, you were actually casting a vote in an economic election that determines the fate of entire companies. And now Wall Street is watching every single one of those votes from outer space. This isn't just about one clever analyst or one lucky guess. The Walmart Parking Lot Index has successfully predicted every major recession since 1990. And I'm going to prove it to you. During the Gulf War recession in 1990, while economists were still crunching numbers and waiting for official GDP reports that wouldn't come out for months, retail parking lots across America were already emptying out as unemployment hit 6.8% and people tightened their belts. The dot-com crash in 2001? Same story. As the NASDAQ lost 77% of its value, parking lots at electronics and luxury retailers began emptying months before anyone officially declared a recession. But the Great Recession from 2007 to 2009 was where parking lot economics truly proved its genius, because something fascinating happened. Satellite data would have shown you a tale of two economies. While parking lots at discount retailers like Walmart were packed with cars because people were trading down to cheaper stores, the parking lots at mid-tier retailers were becoming ghost towns. The satellites were literally watching Americans reshape their entire shopping behavior in real time, months before any economist understood what was happening. And then came the ultimate test, the COVID-19 recession in 2020. This was like watching economic theory play out in fast forward from space. Walmart reported that customers made 14% fewer trips, but spent 27% more per visit, what they called a remarkable shift in shopping behavior. But satellite data captured this shift immediately, while official unemployment data took months to show that joblessness had spiked to 14.7%. The empty parking spaces during lockdowns were screaming economic distress to anyone who knew how to listen, while politicians and economists were still debating whether we were even in a recession. Wall Street has been quietly building a massive alternative data empire worth $137 billion, and they've been using these secrets to make fortunes while regular people wait for the evening news to tell them the economy is in trouble. Companies like J.P. Morgan Chase now use parking lot data in their official reports, and hedge funds routinely combine satellite imagery with credit card data, social media sentiment, and yes, parking lot occupancy rates to gain huge trading advantages over everyone else. They don't just count cars either. They analyze what types of vehicles are in the lots, how cars cluster together, and even peak shopping times to predict everything from quarterly earnings to which malls are about to go bankrupt. It's like they've turned every shopping center in America into their personal economic laboratory. And they're making billions by watching how you and your neighbors behave when you think nobody's paying attention. But what makes Walmart the perfect economic crystal ball? And why this isn't just some weird coincidence? Walmart is the world's largest retailer, with stores in virtually every American community. So it touches every type of person from every income level. It's basically a cross-section of the entire American economy parked in one giant lot. Plus, those massive Walmart parking lots are so big and so easy to see from space that satellites can capture crystal-clear data multiple times per day. But here's something even more interesting. Walmart has actually been shrinking their parking lots for years, from 6 spaces per 1,000 square feet down to just 4 spaces per 1,000 square feet today. Some locations have even chained off 25% of their parking spaces because changing shopping patterns mean they don't need them anymore. This means that when a Walmart parking lot starts looking empty, it's an even stronger signal that something's seriously wrong with the economy. Walmart parking lots are just one player in a whole underground world of bizarre economic indicators that actually work better than the stuff economists spend their careers studying. Wall Street secretly tracks something called the lipstick index, based on the weird fact that sales of small luxury items like lipstick actually increase during recessions because people want affordable treats when they can't afford big purchases. There's the skyscraper curse, which shows that record-breaking tall buildings almost always get completed right before economic crashes. From the Empire State Building in 1931 to the Burj Khalifa in 2010. Former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan used to track corrugated cardboard box demand because most goods need packaging. And he also watched men's underwear sales because guys apparently delay replacing their underwear when they're worried about money. These sound like jokes, but they've been predicting economic disasters more accurately than Nobel Prize-winning economists for decades. What makes all of this so powerful is something that should terrify every traditional economist. These alternative indicators work because they're immediate, while official economic data is always months behind reality. GDP numbers come out quarterly and get revised constantly. Unemployment figures take weeks to compile, and corporate earnings reports only tell you what already happened. But parking lot occupancy can be measured every single day, or even every hour. In a world where stock markets move in milliseconds, having economic intelligence weeks or months before official releases is like having a time machine. And that's exactly why sophisticated investors pay millions for this satellite data, while the rest of us are stuck reading yesterday's news. The most incredible part of this whole story is that these street-level economic indicators are actually all around you, hiding in plain sight if you just know what to look for. Finance professionals now routinely monitor empty parking lots at typically busy restaurants, rising vacancy rates in shopping centers, declining home improvement store traffic on weekends, and increasing traffic at discount retailers while premium stores see fewer customers. These patterns, which any alert person can observe just by paying attention to their own neighborhood, often predict economic shifts months before official data confirms them. You don't need a $1 million satellite subscription or a PhD in economics. You just need to start noticing the world around you differently. Think about the psychology behind all of this for a moment, because it reveals something profound about how the economy really works. Every time you decide to drive to a store, you're making an unconscious vote of confidence in your financial future. Shopping is fundamentally an optimistic act. It requires believing that you'll have money tomorrow, next week, next month. When that confidence starts to crack, even before people consciously realize they're worried about the economy, their behavior changes first. During the Great Recession, researchers discovered that even wealthy people switched to cheaper brands and warehouse clubs, and higher-income households were actually more willing to change their shopping patterns than poor families. This means parking lot patterns at different types of stores can give you incredibly nuanced signals about which parts of the economy are hurting first. As we look toward the future, this alternative data revolution is just getting started. There are now over 1,300 satellites orbiting Earth, with another 600 expected by 2026. Image resolution is getting sharper every year, artificial intelligence is getting better at analyzing patterns, and the cost of satellite intelligence is dropping dramatically. Deloitte predicts that alternative data providers will generate $137 billion in revenue by 2030, completely surpassing traditional economic data sources. We're witnessing a fundamental transformation in how we understand and predict economic activity, and it's happening above our heads while most people are still waiting for the government to tell them what's going on. But perhaps the most important takeaway from this entire story is that the rise of alternative indicators is actually democratizing economic intelligence. While hedge funds pay millions for proprietary satellite data, you can learn to recognize these patterns yourself, just by being observant. Empty parking lots, for lease signs, changes in traffic patterns at different types of stores. These signals are visible to anyone willing to pay attention. The next time you drive past your local Walmart and notice the parking lot is unusually empty or crowded, remember that you might be witnessing an economic signal that won't show up in official government data for months. In this new age of alternative economics, every citizen can become their own economic intelligence analyst. The Walmart Parking Lot Index represents something much bigger than just a clever investment trick. It's proof that the real economy isn't happening in boardrooms or government offices, but in the everyday decisions that millions of people make without even thinking about it. By combining satellite technology with artificial intelligence and an understanding of human behavior, we can now see economic trends unfold in real time instead of waiting for delayed official statistics that tell us what already happened. As we face an uncertain economic future, these alternative indicators offer both professional investors and ordinary people powerful tools for understanding where we're all heading. The empty spaces in parking lots aren't just the absence of cars. They're information, they're predictions, and ultimately, their power. The next recession may already be visible from space, written in the language of empty parking spaces across America's retail landscape, and the only question is whether you're paying attention to what they're trying to tell you. In the grand theater of economics, parking lots have become our most honest witnesses, and satellites our most reliable storytellers. giving us a view from above that reveals truths no spreadsheet could ever capture.